true that when you exited the bathroom, you began shooting at students and staff members of the Oxford High School?
Yes.
Ethan Crumbley standing before a judge and pleading guilty to all 24 felony charges against him. It's been nearly a year since the Oxford school shooting that killed 4 students, injuring 6 others, along with a teacher. And the community still mourning tonight, but feeling a sense of relief. Mid-MichiganNow's Chloe Godbold has more on new information about the case and what comes next.
Ethan Crumbley is now pleading guilty to all 24 felony charges, which includes 4 first-degree murder counts, meaning he could face life in prison without the chance to get out. His pleas are a big change that his defense attorney says was the right decision. The county prosecutor and at least one victim's family call it a relief. This Oakland County courtroom is packed. Everyone here to see Ethan Crumbley stand before a judge and plead guilty to all charges in the Oxford school shooting that killed Tate Meir, Madison Baldwin, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling. Megan Gregory's son Keegan was in the restroom with Crumbley and survived the shooting, but Keegan isn't in the court to see this.
Seeing him and then going back thinking, wow, that was who held my son and Justin in the bathroom for so many minutes, staring at them. It put chills down my spine. He didn't want to be here. He struggles with the thought of being in the same room.
During the hearing, Crumbley admitted to giving money to his father to buy him the semi-automatic 9mm handgun used in the mass shooting. He also tells the judge the gun was not securely stored at home, giving him easy access to the weapon. Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald says this is the first case in the country where a mass shooter has been convicted of terrorism on state charges.
There were no plea negotiations, no plea offers, no reductions, and no sentencing agreements.
Crumbley's defense attorney Paulette Lofton says her client made the right decision to withdraw his insanity plea and plead guilty. They ultimately hope Crumbley receives the help he needs.
The Michigan Department of Corrections does have counseling. Obviously, it's not as in-depth as it would be if he was housed in a mental health facility, but yes, that's our hope. He's taking accountability for his actions.
I sat with victims, and this is hard for them. It's emotional, but it's a step forward, and we're relieved.
The entire Oxford community is torn about the potential plea. They tell me on one hand, they won't have to go through this anymore, but on the other, there's still a lot of unanswered questions.
Why is he making this choice? What is he getting out of this? Is he trying to do something that's better for him and not for me?
Nearly a year since the Oxford High School shooting that took the lives of 4 young students and changed the lives of a whole community.
I mean, it's been a year now. We've been, as a community, thinking of this trial nonstop and what it's going to be like.
Ethan Crumbley, 15 at the time of the shooting, was known to the office and some of his teachers for struggling in school. According to court documents, one of Ethan's teachers saw a disturbing drawing in his notebook with the words, quote, "The thoughts won't stop, help me," next to the image. But when brought to the attention of his parents, they refused to take him home for the day, and he was sent back to class. That same day, Ethan carried out what investigators believe was a premeditated mass shooting. Now the Oakland County Chief Assistant Prosecutor David Williams says Crumbley is expected to plead guilty of all 24 charges, something some Oxford community members are torn between.
There's good and bad. I can at least say that. There is definitely, some positives that come from either way.
Lori Borgo, an Oxford High School parent and Village of Oxford council member, tells me one of the benefits of Ethan Crumbley pleading guilty is them not having to go through a long trial. But she also tells me she feels as though they're losing the chance to hear the details of what really led up to that day.
The facts are there. The information is there. Hopefully it'll be released. I don't know. Is it just going to go back to the school for them to decide what to do with it? Is it going to be made public? That would be my preference, that they make it public for those of us who want to seek it out.
But when it comes down to the trial,
overall, we just want to honor Hannah, Tate, Madison, and Justin and their families. And they're the ones that we think about through all of this, and hope that they're healing and have peace with whatever happens and comes.
Attorney Ben Johnson, based on his timeline, was sworn testimony from teachers and counselors. Johnson says there were troubling signs with the shooting suspect since the first week of school last August. Signs that Johnson believes should have been caught and handled.
First and foremost, what we now know is this. From literally the beginning of school, Ethan Crumbley was evidencing signs of being highly troubled.
In the first week of school, August 2021, Johnson says the suspect was drawing on a note card in class. He says the suspect drew a firearm, but that the drawing was not seen by a teacher until Monday, November 29th, the day before the shooting. On September 8th, 2021, Johnson says an email was sent by a different teacher to a counselor asking for the counselor to talk to Crumbley. On November 10th, Johnson says another teacher sent an email to a counselor saying the suspect was having a tough time. According to the attorney, this was the email sent.
I had a student during first hour today, Ethan Crumbley, who was on his phone looking at different bullets at the end of the first hour today as I was walking around the room passing out their essays. I didn't get a chance to investigate it a bit further since it was the end of the hour. Now that he's on my radar,
Parents were in the room as Johnson laid out this timeline. The parents of 16-year-old Tate Meir, who was among the 4 students shot and killed, are upset they're just now hearing these details.
Folks in the school aren't talking, and if they are talking, they're going to start investigating, and they're going to start talking to students, and they're going to get this story. If they're chasing it, something happens. Okay? Something gets addressed.
The mother of another student, Justin Schilling, who was shot and killed, was filled with emotion and anger.
We have 4 angels that they're gone. You know, I can't find an excuse for dropping the ball.
Johnson feels this shooting could have been avoided.
Had one of the adults, the teachers, the counselors, the assistant principal, the dean of students done their job, this information would have been known on that Monday. Everybody assuming that everybody else is doing something and no one's doing anything.